The Nissan Nation podcast is a presentation of DRB and KGB Media.
Recorded live, coast to coast, it's the Nissan Nation podcast. From camping, racing, and all points in between. The NNP is your Nissan Nation podcast. Now start your engines and welcome in the hosts, David and Danny.
What is going on, Nissan Nation? All things Nissan here in Dave's bonus room to Danny's garage. This is your Nissan Nation podcast. Daniel Groders, how's your garage feeling tonight there, buddy?
It's a little cramped, Dave, to tell you the truth. It's a little cramped.
I can only imagine with all the...
We got a 300Z in here that, it hasn't had much movement since the day I purchased it. I worked on it a little bit, and I think some changes are going to be in order.
Well, sometimes you got to deproject yourself a little bit to move forward, man. What's going on with your cars? They moving out?
Well, I got this one, and then I have one in my driveway that's like basically a shell, and I don't know, just kids and things happening. I got the race truck too, so that's where my main focus is race truck. So I have these other cars that, I kind of got to a point to where I have to actually spend money on them.
Right.
So, and I don't want to do that because I want to spend money on race truck. So plus the wife hates them and she wants them gone. And I want room in my garage because, the other day I wanted to work on my truck, and when I have a car in the driveway and a car in the garage and I want to work on my truck, I'm like starting to run out a little bit of space.
I know your pain,
sir. So it's time to get rid of them.
I do know your pain. I still have from moving here a year and a half ago. My garage is still full of boxes for stuff that we have no room for. So I walk through my garage every morning.
My garage was in pretty good shape there for a little bit.
I was going to say, you were doing some videos there for a while out of your garage, man.
That was the old place. The old place had a totally finished garage. Mm-hmm. This one, this one I did. I shot some videos, and I actually have some good roll from them, but I haven't edited any of it or anything like that. So I don't know. We'll see. I really want to get this garage finished up so that once the fab on the race truck is done, I can at least bring it in here sometimes. In truth, though, I have a new sponsorship though with the race truck, so
nice,
it'll probably be at that shop. So
anything you can
the sponsorship is. Yeah, I'll announce it. Big announcement, I guess. So the race truck is now sponsored by Simi Valley Tire Pros. One of my best friends, a solid dude, best friends from high school. He purchased a local franchise, Tire Pros, and we actually changed tires together way back in the day when we were young, dumb high school kids. And so he purchased a Tire Pros franchise recently. I've been helping him out a little bit on just one day a week because I get Mondays off. So I've been helping him out a little bit on the side on Mondays, just going in and doing a little work, selling tires, selling service and stuff like that, and working with him because he's got some really, really good connections. So he's going to be sponsoring the race truck and helping me get it going. So a large portion, it's still going to get built by PTF Fab, but we have some really amazing, he actually has some really amazing mechanics that work there, some guys that worked at some dealerships and some other stuff. And I'm not one to usually trust a mechanic that works at a tire shop, but he pays those guys really well because they do really killer work. And after we're seeing them work a couple times and seeing the work that they do, I would trust them with every single one of my cars. They both race. They do some drag racing with some of the. It'll be cool to be able to have a couple extra hands to work on the truck once it gets done with fab stuff to bring it over to the shop where we have a lift, and we can I can work on it with a couple really, really competent mechanics, and we can get it squared away once that's all squared away. So that's the news on the race truck right now. Still a ways out, but not nearly as far as it was a couple months ago.
Well, what kind of where are you at with the truck? I mean, what's done? What's ready to go? What's going on?
Okay, so yeah, I guess I haven't thrown down a ton of updates with it recently. The rear leaf springs are in. Rear shackles have been built. The rear shackles are kind of a crazy boomerang design that go above the frame, and because of the length of the leaves, because the length of the leaves isn't limited, but the length of the Xterra frame is. So you can only go so far back. To get 18 inches, we basically have a leaf that goes to the very end of the Xterra frame, and then the shackle basically swings around the end of the frame. Well, I'll snap some pictures next time I go down there. But really cool design. BTF's a killer. BTF Fab's a killer. Brandon over there is a killer fabricator, and he came up with a really cool design there. So the rear end is hung on the leaves. He is currently finishing up another project, and then he's going to get on the shock mounts and shock towers, which kind of go on. You know, they're built off the frame basically, or I'm sorry, not the frame. They're built off of the roll cage, and so that's kind of the next step. Is he's building the shock towers, and he's going to build the rear bumper, the rear tire carriers. So I'm going to have two upright tires, spares, back there on either side of the fuel cell. But I guess that's where I'm at right now. It's kind of the slow season for him, coming into December and stuff like that. So he's getting a little bit more time, I think, to be able to work on my truck a little bit, and we're going to be able to give him a little bit more money so that he can stay busy through the holidays, and hopefully we'll have it rolling status in February, March, or something like that.
Nice. Are you is the plan to kind of start testing in the spring, or is it still ways off for that?
I'm hoping that we can start testing in midsummer,
because motor wise,
when I want to start hopefully testing. I've had goals before, and this is a very loose goal as well. Until myself and my buddy Justin get a better idea, because he's my race partner. It's not just sponsoring the truck. This is one of my oldest friends, so he wants to do this with me as much as wants to sponsor it. So as you know, I've got a lot of money into it, so he's going to be getting a lot of money into it, and we're going to kind of team up to get it to the finish line, or the start line, I guess you would say. Finish line's probably still a ways off, right? But we want it for spring, but I think realistically midsummer, and it really depends on how business goes. If business is going great for him, and I can keep my head above water over here in my own dealings, then we can probably get it going by early summer.
Well, nice, man. Because motor wise and everything, that's ready to go. It was fine as is, right? Yeah,
you drove it the last time it was driving,
right? Right.
So you drove it on the road course. You know how that works. There's gonna be some hurdles to overcome. I got to figure out the fuel system, just because I'm not sure if I'm going to be running some kind of aftermarket pump in the fuel cell, or if I'm going to mod something to where I can use the stock fuel pump.
Is it the stock? Is it
to what kind of fuel pressures I need to run, etc.
Is the stock one just like it can't suck up fuel fast enough? Why you'd have to go aftermarket?
Well, in truth, I think the stock one would work fine, and it might be the best bet, just because if you think about the reliability of a stock pump, the entire system is built for reliability, right? Like stock systems are built for reliability. Race reliability is a different question, I suppose, but fuel cell, I don't know. It's new territory for me. I'm gonna be talking to a couple guys about it, because there's a guy that runs the let's see, he ran the Baja 500, yeah, and he kind of ran an aftermarket pump, an inline pump and pickup, and just because it's a single line system as opposed to a 2-line system. So he ran a little bit different setup, and you have to run some regulators and stuff. So it's just kind of figuring out what I'm going to run, what I think is going to be the best as far as reliability, and then, figuring out from there. I don't see any huge hurdles. I don't think it's going to, stop us from moving forward. It's just a matter of figuring it out.
Right.
Michael Deerdorf, who builds a lot of aftermarket stuff now, he kind of came on the scene recently and does a lot of Titan stuff. He's kind of building his own, I don't know if it's a pre-runner, but he races Class 1 buggies, but he also has a Titan that he's building pretty crazy. I just saw a post from him about running he basically built in a stock pickup for the stock fuel pump. So I'm gonna chat with him and see what it is. But in truth, it's gonna just come down to picking other guys' minds and seeing what they've done. And I mean, there's very few guys running any Nissans in actual race conditions.
Right.
So between Dave Blakely and Team Xterra Racing, who I hear will be racing next year, my buddy Glenn, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. He's got the white Frontier that I got to drive. He's the one that built up that the fuel system for his truck. Between the two of those guys, or three of those guys, I should be able to figure something out that'll work good for us.
Right. And now that Frontier, is it in the same class that you're trying to be in?
It's in a score class. I can't remember what the score class is. And it's not a 7100 truck, but I think it would fit into the 7100 rules. It's a very, very stock truck.
Speaking of trucks racing, did you see our buddy on the East Coast podiumed? He won a race?
Yeah, Dan Spallinger, right?
Yeah.
That guy's killing it, man. And he's got big plans for some changes on the truck, if I remember right. Dan, if you're listening, we gotta get you back on the show. I want him back on the show so bad. I messaged him a million times, and it's just a matter of me always messaging him like on a Wednesday to do a Thursday show, and he's always like, dude, I need like at least a couple days notice, because East Coast, he stays, that's a late time for him. But he's got a great race program. He knows how to finish. It's a little bit of he runs a 4-cylinder, so it's a little bit of a turtle in the hair for him. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he's always finishing, and he's got a great little race program going.
Well, and he's more kind of a rally style, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's a rally truck. It's a rally truck, but he has long travel BTF fab kit on there. Mm-hmm. He's running something that can definitely. He ran the Baja. He didn't finish, but he ran it. And,
really?
The truck can compete in some hardcore stuff. But
I didn't know that truck.
Where he is and stuff.
I didn't know that truck ran Baja.
He ran Baja. Oh man, I can't remember. I want to say 2 years ago, maybe 3. We'll have to get him on and chat with him again, because he's a cool cat, and he's probably one of the most racing guys out here, other than maybe that Venom truck, that Venom guy. But yeah, he races a lot, so.
Well,
we gotta get him on, okay, Dave?
Yeah, man. And going from racing, we've got other things to kick out.
Nissan.
Oh. Yeah.
Danny, you've got an auto show right in your hometown.
I'm going next Saturday, actually. I wanted to go tomorrow. On Saturday, but I got military drill weekend this weekend, so I got to go do my duty. Uncle Sam doesn't like it when you go to the auto show instead of showing up for work.
You
but
said
on
duty.
the 10th, I promised my daughter that I would take her, so we're gonna go on the 10th. And it's the last day, so hopefully we'll be able to get in and see everything.
Well, maybe you can kick around on that new Nissan, the Nissan Kicks.
Yeah, no, I wish I could have hopped in and checked it out for the show. Maybe I'll just record some stuff between me and my daughter. in the show and get a little something, a little live something for you guys. But you know what? Way back in the day, I used to always go with my pops down to the LA Auto Show. I haven't been in years and years and years just because life. But it's a really good show. So I'm excited to go check it out.
Well, that and you hate LA, so.
Yeah, I hate going to LA, but there's a couple things that make me want to go. That not make me want to go, but that I will brave the LA traffic to go check it out.
Well, I remember when I was out there in 2014 when you picked me up, the LA Auto Show was going on then, and it was kind of a bummer to be driving by. And even, I think Nissan even had a big billboard on the side of where they did it. But anyways, so let's get into let's try on these new kicks and discuss this, man. So Nissan rolled out. They threw me off a little bit because I knew the kick would eventually be for the U.S. market, but I really thought they were about to start talking electric SUV because they're going to do a small SUV kind of in the stylings of the kick for their new EV program. But they went Brazil on us there, Danny, and brought something that they developed down about 3 years ago for that market. Yeah,
and if you go to the Nissan vehicles and you pull up crossover and SUVs, it's a perfect kind of meld, because when you look at it, let me I'm pulling it up right now. I was actually on the kicks, looking at the kicks, but there's the Juke, which is, it's the Juke. It's just this. It's like the ugly stepchild.
Hey man, come on now.
And then there's the hold on, let's see. The Juke. I mean, it's the ugly stepchild of all their little crossover SUVs. So there's the Juke, the Rogue Sport, the Rogue, the Murano, the Pathfinder, and the Armada. If you look at all of those, it's like one of these things is not like the other. It's literally the Juke. It's like it just stands out as like a weird looking little car. So if you were to replace the Juke with the kicks, it totally makes sense because it's like a Rogue Sport, really. Right. That's what it is. It's a tiny Rogue. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it is built off of the same platform that the Juke is built on.
It's not a big. Yeah, I mean, it's not a big change as far as, I mean, Nissan has been selling 1 million Rogues, Rogue Sports, Muranos, even Pathfinders is selling well. So it's no big surprise to me. They're talking about, entry level pricing right around 18,000-19,000. So it's an entry level SUV or crossover, I guess you would. I'd call it a crossover. I don't know if I'd call it an SUV, but I think when I first watched the initial little video on it, and I was like, oh great, another one. They just made it a little bit smaller. But after looking at it pretty in depth, as much as you can, it's got some cool features. It's a nice little car. I'd say it's a little bit more feminine, if you will. That's my personal perspective. I don't know how best to describe feminine. It's not a super masculine car, but it's a cool little car. Right. I'm not saying that dudes can't drive it. I'm just saying it's very small and it's petite.
Well, I mean,
it's petite. It's not made. It's got massive headroom, so I guess tall guys can drive it.
Well, so people my stature will be comfortable in it, from what you're saying. But what I can tell,
this is a Dave car. It's feminine. It's petite.
What I can tell from this car though is, so right now we'll just go through their SUV CUV lineup. So right now, starting out, they have the Juke, which is about 20 grand is where it starts out. Then you jump to Rogue Sport, which is 21 grand. Then you can jump to Rogue, which is 24 grand. Murano at 30, Pathfinder at 30, and then you got to jump up to Armada at 45,000. So the thing I can see they're doing is they're trying to make basically the Versa of their CUVs is where this is going to fit in. It's going to be about 18, like you said, 18,000. I'm sure nicely equipped, you're $20,000. So that's definitely the entry level. The thing of it is it's like it's basically the Juke without the turbo. And what kind of disturbs me about it is the Juke got lots of rave reviews about being a fun little car to drive with that turbo. You know, it was peppy. The thing was like 188 horsepower with that turbo and about 177 pound-feet of torque, where this kick is 125 horsepower with 115 pounds of torque. Man, this is a point A to point B car, and that's about it.
I was looking for specs on it. Is it a single motor option? Do they have two motor options for it?
No, it's going to be a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder, just like the Juke was, except the Juke had the turbo.
Right. Gotcha.
The thing that is
they're claiming 33 miles per gallon.
I was going to say that's where they're going to make their.
That's pretty measly in the horsepower range. I'd really like. What did you say, Dave?
Oh, sorry, I thought I lost you there. But yeah, I mean it's like 4 more MPGs versus what the Juke was. But I mean that's I know that's a lot, but when you're in the 30s, you're not. You know, I mean, what are you talking? I mean, in reality, because you know this is going to have a small gas tank, so I mean. Yeah, you're going to get a little further, but not much further.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if I want to look at the torque curve on that motor. It'd be nice. I mean, if you had 105 horse right off the bat, I mean, it's a 4-cylinder. We'll see. It's hard to judge it on powertrain if you can't drive it.
Right.
It sounds gutless. Don't get me wrong. It sounds totally gutless at 105 horsepower. You know, that sounds like less than like an Ultima or whatever.
Right.
But that's like the same. That's the same motor that's basically across the line, right?
Yeah. It's their entry level 4-cylinder. The thing that I can, if you have to compare it to the Juke, the only thing I can say that, since it's basically on the same platform, is the Juke was so strange looking. Where do you take that? You know, if you start calming it down, then your little hardcore Juke guys are like, oh, you're changing what made that car unique. So I guess if you just basically bring it in mellow as a different named vehicle, maybe that's Nissan's thinking behind this.
Yeah, and I kind of see where you're going. Juke definitely had its own look and stuff. I think that the Juke had cool styling, but it was a little quirky. I think the kicks it's a pretty classy styled vehicle. The more I look at it, the more I like the lines. It's got really cool lines. It's got really, really cool color schemes as far as the way that they're offering it. They're offering it in, I'll run through it. It's black, silver, and then all the other color schemes are two-tones. So there's like this burnt orange with like a black roof. There's like a gunmetal gray with an orange roof. There's blue with a white roof. There's red. There's like a darker red with a black roof. And so I kind of like the way they got the color schemes going. Interior, I really like the interior. When they released it, they showed like a really cool crosshatch sewn fabric leather type seat. If you go on the website, you see that they offer a really cool leather, red stitched leather seat. I'm sure that's not base models, of course,
right?
But entertainment package is pretty cool. They have a really, really cool new tablet style infotainment center. I guess innovative technology that they got, which works with Android and Apple. The cluster is really nice. It's got a really cool digital design on the left. I mean, you have on the right you have your standard speedo, but on the left you have like a really cool. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it's kind of like a bird's eye view of the top of your vehicle, and it gives you all kinds of information in that little information center. But
right.
Lots of electronic controls on the steering wheel. Pretty classic Nissan steering wheel. It's flat on the bottom, which is kind of cool. Pretty standard. Other than that, I've heard from and it looked like when I was watching the live update or whatever from the auto show, it looked like there's tons of room in, Like, they really killed it with the cabin space. So when I was watching people get in and out of the back seats, I rewound it a couple times, and the headroom is amazing. The back seat space is pretty cool. So there's some really cool things about it that I think will help it sell, that I think are really nice about it. And I don't know, I get on it too bad, to tell you the truth, Dave. I tried for this pretty, like greater than whatever they call them. But after looking at it and kind of getting a feel for it, I get it. It's cool. I would absolutely love to buy one of these for my daughter for her first car. That's
right.
how I feel about it.
Right, and I'm sure that's a big thing for them. Is it's an entry level car. You know, it's somebody's first big purchase. We've discussed this in the past, so I don't, and I know all manufacturers are doing this, but you're talking like $1,000 difference from something that's a little bit bigger, and then $3,000 to get into a Rogue, which is much bigger than this, man. I don't, when people buy cars, you don't buy them by the price anymore. You buy them by your monthly payments, and I just don't see it being that big of a difference in a monthly payment that would sway me. And I mean, I like the styling of the car. I don't think it's a bad looking car. I think engine wise, I think it's weak sauce. I mean, there's no reason why you would not just keep that little turbo in that car and make it a fun car, unless it's competing with the Rogue Sport, which I believe that engine is kind of in. You don't want it to have more power than the Rogue Sport. I'm looking it up at the moment, but I can't remember what the engine is in that car. I can tell you. Let's see. Oh, where are we at?
I think too is when you start adding options, you know, you can get a really nicely equipped. Let's just. I'm not saying I know. Let's just say you get a really good, well equipped kicks for the price of a base model Rogue.
Okay, so
you know what I'm saying, and the size difference. If you don't need the size, then
sure,
what's the point? That's
sure.
my thinking.
Well, the Rogue. Okay, so the Rogue Sport has a 2-liter 4-cylinder. It's 141 horsepower, 147 foot-pounds of torque. I can see why. Like, the Juke was playing in territory they have a new car for, and they don't want your tiny car to be more powerful and sportier than the second choice. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I like the car. I think it's a good looking car. Price wise, it wasn't for me, it wouldn't. If I was looking for a daily commuter car that looked nice, it wouldn't sway me enough to keep me away from a Rogue Sport or a Rogue.
I kind of disagree.
Well, we got a lot to disagree on.
Yeah, tonight's going to be the Danny and Dave battle. I think there's something to be said for something small and quirky and slightly more economical. It's a little bit more fun. Like the Rogue is, when you start going in. I mean, you can get a Rogue Sport, but you can start getting the Rogue. It's the difference between an 18-year-old car and a 25-year-old car, and then a 30-year-old.
I get it, man. Yeah.
Actual vehicle, but the age of the person that wants to drive them. An 18-year-old wants something small and sporty and fun, but their friends aren't going to hit their heads.
Right.
Like you go to the Rogue Sport, it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit more expensive. I think Nissan knows what they're doing on this one. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, I'm not making their vehicle decisions, or Xterra would still be around. But if you look at all their CUVs now, other than the Armada, which is just a big, heavy vehicle, currently Juke is highway miles is 2833. We'll say this in here I think was 30, 34, something like that. Rogue Sport's 25 to 32 miles per gallon. Rogue is 26 to 33. Murano, which is a fairly big CUV, it's a 2128. Pathfinder's 2027, and our big Armada is 1419. So they definitely, their CUVs have all come into that 30, basically that near 30 miles per gallon range. So that's encouraging because it allows them to do vehicles like the Xterra maybe down the road.
Yeah, which I don't see that happening, but I mean, hats off to your to your confidence and your positive thinking.
I think
usually, you know what? Usually I'm the optimist, but on that one I'm pretty pessimistic.
No, I think our last show we discussed it that neither one of us really thought Xterra was coming back.
Yeah.
Cold day in hell on that one, I think. But still, we can dream, man. We can dream.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what trips me out, since we'll finish up their SUV lineup. So to me right now, their best looking vehicle is the Armada, and that design is it's about 8 years old versus everything else they have. From what I can tell of their SUV lineup, they're all pretty modern looking vehicles, but the Armada, of course, is a patrol everywhere else. I think that vehicle came out in 2010 or 11. I want to say 11, as what our current Armada is, and of course that's got a very frontier looking front to it, just slightly smoother, versus their new thinned out LED lights or whatever they put in the front lights. But could you see like the Armada, because the Armada, it's actually selling very well. Would it be funny that an older SUV influences the next SUVs, as far as it's like they're going back in time with that Armada design and versus the Rogues and all that? And if they did another bigger SUV, do you think it would be more Armada like?
That's a good question. I think it's gonna come down to gas prices. I really think gas prices and economy is gonna be a huge deal. I'm not gonna get into politics. I mean, everybody knows we got some big budget deal going through right now, and who knows what the economy is going to be. If the economy goes really well and people have tons of money and they start caring way less about gas mileage and gas prices, I think we'll see big SUVs. Well, Americans, all of us love big SUVs, Suburbans, Tahoes, Expeditions, Explorers. We love them. The problem is they suck gas like crazy. So that's why these new markets popped up of crossovers and SUVs or little SUVs and CUVs and XUVs or whatever they call them, because we still want that huge vehicle, but we wanted, at the same time we can't afford the gas for those monsters. I guarantee you a lot of people would rather have a big SUV like an Armada than something slightly smaller if they could get the same gas mileage. But I mean, when you have that big of a vehicle, it's just not it's not feasible to get the kind of gas mileage that the economy can help you with.
Right.
So well, I think that plays a huge part. I mean, there's no denying that.
Well, can you see that since there is about a $15,000 difference from Pathfinder to Armada, it fits nicely in there that they could actually build a 4Runner style SUV for about $35,000.
Yeah, like a luxury. Well, and that's the thing is the Murano is kind of their luxury SUV. I mean, the Pathfinder is a little bit more family oriented, but I mean, if you look over at the Infinity line, I don't believe the Pathfinder has an Infinity counterpart in the Infinity line, correct?
Say that. I'm sorry, I wasn't following what you were saying there.
So the Murano has its counterpart in the Infinity line, but I don't believe the Pathfinder has its counterpart over in the Infinity line, correct?
No, Pathfinder has it was a JX35 or whatever 30. It's a QX60.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, that's the Murano currently doesn't have a partner with Infinity, but Pathfinder does, because the Pathfinder.
I thought it was the Murano.
No, Pathfinder. They're both built here in Smyrna, Tennessee. Both it and the Infinity, where the Murano is still built. Murano right now is being built in Canton, if I remember right.
Because that's like their Murano's like Nissan's kind of like their.
Yeah,
I'm kind of surprised Murano's sticking around as long as it has, just because it's I mean, it's the luxury version of the Rogue, but and it has its place, but it seems a little bit more niche, I guess.
Well, it's if you
I don't know.
If you go and
I don't know, Dave.
it's definitely style wise, it's definitely for your probably a little bit older crowd that wants something super nice, but yet doesn't want to spend $60,000 on the stepping into the Infinity stuff. But
yeah, still, I mean they're quick. They still got good motors and stuff like that. Good performance vehicle and stuff like that. While still maintaining some space for grandkid stuff or old people trying to stay young stuff.
Right, and you can throw the Christmas tree on the roof of that still, so you're okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, speaking of Christmas, man.
Hold on, Dave. I got this segue, and I'm gonna change it from whatever you're doing because. Speaking of stuff on the roof, Dave, did you see the Star Wars themed vehicles at the LA Auto Show?
I did see those, man.
Was that the segue? Was that the segue you were going into?
It could have been. It could have been. It is now.
Dude, they got the X-wing Rogue, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at some pictures of that now.
They got the TIE Fighter. What is that? Not an Is it an Ultima? I think it's a TIE Fighter Ultima. And then they have a Titan. I would say it's built kind of like a Walker.
Yeah, the AT-AT.
Like an AT-AT, I would say. I think that's what they were going for the Titan. Titan's kind of cool. I kind of dig the Titan. It's got like a giant. It's kind of like a habitat / camper shell that is built to look like the back end of a AT-AT, but then it's got a big gun at the front. Is it a Rogue or Murano? That's an X-wing.
I haven't seen that one. I'm still looking at the Rogue as the X-wing.
Yeah, the Rogue's an X-wing, so it literally has X-wings with its I don't know. I think they're plasma blasters hanging out the side. It literally has like X-wings on the side, and then like I said, the Ultima has
Ultima is an X or the TIE Fighter style.
Yeah, it's the cool looking TIE Fighter where the wings kind of point in like a triangular shape all the way to the front. So they kind of went all out with their whole Star Wars theme because they have the Last Jedi movie coming out, which I don't know about you, but I'm pretty stoked about that.
I have my tickets purchased.
I brought my daughters
Danny.
to see the last one, so yeah, you bought tickets, didn't you?
Yeah, I did already, man. That's my Christmas movie.
Sweet.
But yeah,
are you going to see it on Christmas?
Yeah, dude, we always go see a movie on Christmas, and
that's madman, dude.
Last year it was Rogue One, and which my daughter wasn't really thrilled. I mean, she loves Star Wars movies, but it was a little more than she could follow. Really, not enough action in that one. But she loves the
one before Rogue One.
Yeah, oh gosh, I can't even think of the damn name of it. Anyways, the one where they started it up again. She loves that one there, and so
nice.
So yeah, she's super excited by this, man. And but the partnership that Nissan has done, they can pinpoint that's like the Rogue sales have went crazy because of that, because the Rogue sales were doing okay before, but after their partnership last Christmas with Disney and all that, their sales jumped. And so I think this year they thought, okay, let's do it again, and let's just throw every car we got at it.
Nice. It's kind of a logical illogical partnership. I mean, obviously they had the Rogue, and then the movie was called Rogue One, so that kind of worked out pretty well in their favor. And so they have the partnership, so they're like, let's make the most out of it. So it's a cool partnership.
Yeah, definitely.
They got some cool little vehicles that they built for the auto show. I can't wait to go see them in person.
Right.
I'm sure, from the looks of them, it looks like they're, as far as props and cool stuff on them, they look pretty cool. So
yeah, it looks fun.
Anyhow,
I mean,
we had to touch on that.
We did.
I'll take some pictures and post them on our NISTech site, or not NISTech, Nissan Nation podcast site.
Jeez,
on
man.
Facebook. So
You sold me off already to some other
I'll post them somewhere. Follow me.
Yeah, follow Danny on his what's your Instagram now, Danny?
DaGrootX, DaGrootX. Follow that Instagram. That's my somewhat new / old Instagram. So hop out there, check me out, follow me. You'll get some Action Suit Groot. You'll get some Nissan Nation podcast. You'll get all kinds of stuff on there. But I try and only post the most quality of adventurous photos.
Yeah, and I talked about it the last podcast that you weren't on, but the one with you posing with the deer that you got, and then you're sleeping out in the middle of a prairie somewhere.
Yeah. We shot literally. I didn't have a deer tag because I didn't pick one up the beginning of the year. I wasn't sure if I was hunting or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy talked me into going hunting with him up in Montana. So, and this was my first real hunting trip.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out there and I brought the Action Suit with me, more of as a joke. And then I ended up wearing it one day, and that was the day that me and my buddy found a big buck. And so we shot this thing at like 4 p.m. and dressed it and pulled it through 2 rivers and hauled it almost a mile out to the truck. And so I was literally just like, the Action Suit's covered in blood. I'm exhausted. Like, we forded rivers with this stupid buck on the back of a couple straps over the shoulder. It was a pretty wild. I mean, the Action Suit lived up to its name. I mean, I was warm and toasty the whole time. So, yeah. Well, Action Suit Groot, guys.
I feel
all kinds of adventures go on.
I feel for anybody that has to clean that suit.
Dude, I put it through the washer and it's like perfectly clean, dude. The Action Suit is the most amazing material. It's a blend of sweet revenge, love, dirty sex, and a little bit of mint. I think that's how they spun that suit together.
And now some deer flavoring.
And a little deer blood now. I'll tell you what, dude, that suit is so bitchin', dude. I literally went friggin' bushwhacking through the mountains of Montana in the suit, and I come back and I throw it in the washer and friggin' dry it out, and it's back to friggin' snaps.
Well,
back to shape.
I seen a picture that you'd posted where you were in a cabin or something, and there was a lady behind you, and it just looked like she just was like, "Who is this guy in this suit?"
Dude, my buddies were cracking up. And I was like, dude, you don't need all that camo bullshit that'd kill a deer. I'm like, let's go out and kill some sons of bitches, man. Anyway, and on top of all this BS, you see all these guys with the woodland print, blah, blah, blah. My buddy shot his deer at 525 yards. I don't think the deer can even see that far, dude. These guys are freaking crack shots, dude. Sniper status. We're sitting on a freaking rock about, 1,000,000 miles away. You don't need no woodland print, dude. You just need an Action Suit and a good gun. That's all you need for hunting these days, man.
What kind of gun did you shoot that got that kind of distance?
My buddy's running a 6.5 Grendel, which is to describe it, it's kind of like a 7.62 projectile in a 5.56 shell. If that makes any.
Right. Well, this gun wasn't made by High Point, was it?
This is a slightly more expensive gun than a High Point, dude.
Oh, man.
We're going to get into some good stuff right now?
No, I'll leave that one go. The people that know me, they'll get a giggle out of that one.
The gun for gangsters.
Hey, if you hold it sideways, you're all right.
Something like that.
Well,
also, if you hold it sideways, you're guaranteed to be arrested. Anyhow,
let's get into a topic that I've been wanting to get into, Danny.
Get it, Dave.
Plasti dip. I've teased our audience with this one a little bit, man, and there's a lot of anger on Facebook here lately, and I'm probably partly to blame for that because I like aggravating people. But man, you want to talk about where lines have been drawn in the sand. You ask about Plasti Dip if it's a mod.
Well, Dave, in the technical sense, Dave, Plasti Dip, when applied to a vehicle, you have modified the vehicle in a manner in which the vehicle did not come factory. Therefore, it's technically a modification.
But if you're going to mod, to me, if you're modding something, there's an improvement to that vehicle. And, you know, the way I see it is, you know, you modify the suspension, you modify the engine. I don't take Plasti Dip and throw it on my muffler and go, man, I've just gained all this horsepower.
All right, Dave. I mean, let me just start this off by saying you started this conversation. Dave, how many of your trucks currently have Plasti Dip on them?
Let's see.
The answer is all of them, Dave.
No, 2 of them currently have Plasti Dip
your
on them.
X has Plasti Dip on it for sure.
Mine doesn't. No, mine's all bedliner.
Both of them, dude. Guaranteed, both of your. I know that your SAS X probably has 14 layers in any different area on the X.
Not a Plasti Dip, man. Come on now.
Oh, please, man.
If it was Plasti Dip, it would probably run right. It's. But no, definitely. I mean, I use it. Don't get me wrong, man. I've painted Kelly's grill of her Xterra with it. I blacked out the Nissan Burger on my Titan because I think Nissan put the biggest, gaudiest chrome thing they could on a beautifully black truck. But no, there's a place for it. But man, I guess where I see it a lot is in these young guys are buying these Frontiers and Xterras, and you know, I get it. Their wallet is not there. You know, gas, especially in it's something that sucks gas, is probably takes up all their budget for anything fun. So you go, hey, $5 or $6 can of Plasti Dip, and let's go to town.
Well, Dave, I guess where this is leading me is kind of towards a personal public service announcement. There's one thing that's near and dear to my heart, and that's keeping young kids on the straight and narrow. And I wanted to let all the young kids know that if you Plasti Dip your D, you can still get your girl pregnant. Just let you know, it doesn't fix that. You cannot Plasti Dip your D and keep it locked on. It's not watertight, if you know what I'm saying, boys.
And how do we know this, Danny?
Plasti dipping your truck is okay. It's not technically a modification, but Plasti dipping your D is definitely not a modification worth doing.
And how do we know this, Dan?
Science.
I think we watched a video on this.
Yeah.
It was
video in high school.
It was research purposes only.
Yeah.
But
I did some in-house research.
We did find a YouTube video when we were discussing like doing this topic. We found a YouTube video where I guess this is a commonly asked question: is can you do that? Why? I don't know, but and so a guy literally, I guess
dip your D.
He found a dildo, and I think they put a condom on it or something, and then they Plasti dipped the dildo. So it can be done.
Well, I mean, if you put a condom on and then you Plasti dip the condom, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But if you just Plasti dip your D, then you just have a special colored D.
Well, does that help with girth?
It would matter. I don't know if that amount of extra. Anyhow, Dave, I feel like we got derailed a little bit here.
We did, but no, I just like, and I even see it in the tuner world, man, where these guys, of course, they're doing whole cars, and I get like a whole car. Yeah, you put some effort into that, man, but I'm sorry if you black out your Nissan emblem, that is not a modification to me.
I guess we'll agree to disagree, Dave.
Well, so what's Plasti dipped on your vehicle, Dan?
You know what? On the wife's Armada, I Plasti dipped the roof rack because it was chrome.
Yeah.
And it was like plastic chrome, so I Plasti dipped the roof rack so she didn't have a chrome anymore.
What does the Dragon have on it? Anything?
What's up?
What about the Dragon, the Frontier, man?
I'm trying to think. I may have Plasti dipped my emblem and then put a sticker on top of it. I think I do have Plasti dip on my emblem.
Yeah. Man, you went all out. Here you're defending Plasti dip, and you probably don't even own a can of it.
The grill used to be Plasti dipped, and I took that off. And I think I sprayed you know what? The race truck wheels have plastic dip on them. Of course, I'm going to get rid of those because they're junk wheels. But they do have plastic dip on them.
Yeah.
And I plastic dipped my original Xterra wheels black.
That's something I've never done, man. Because that seems like such a pain in the ass to take off when you're done with it.
I will say that it held up amazing when I took it out to Moab. Mm-hmm. It held up amazing. I thought for sure they'd be all ripping and tearing. You know, the finish would be all tearing apart. Because I plastered them shortly before Moab. This is on my 04 SE Xterra supercharged one. I plastered up the rims just black and took it out to Moab. That was my first Moab trip, and you know I beat it up pretty good. And I didn't have a single scratch on any of the wheels, like the finish.
Nice. I mean, I've seen where people get super creative. You know, I've seen some camo style that they've done. There's a GTR that somebody plastic dipped pink for some reason.
Well, there's levels. There's levels of plastic dip too. I mean, the actual plastic dip in a can is level 1. If you get like that, dip your car, and there's a couple different. If you prep and spray it, and there's like a final coat and stuff, you can do a really amazing spray on vinyl job on a car. I mean, you could spend about $400 on like a really, really good kit, and you do all the prep, and you have a good, you know, like a garage that you put up all plastic and stuff like that, and do it without getting contaminants in it and stuff like that. The legit way to do it, you know, basically change the color of your car without painting it.
Right.
And that stuff lasts really well. You can peel it off really well too, is, you know, if you decide you want to change it. But
that would be the thing for me.
The cheap stuff is cheap.
Trying to peel that off of a car seems like a nightmare.
I've watched a lot of videos on it and stuff. It's not super gnarly. The thing is the really, really good stuff is it comes off in like large pieces. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it sticks pretty hard, but it's not a huge difference than taking off like actual wrap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's like the good stuff. And that's why it's good. It's because it's super thick, and you spray it, and it's, you know, gives you some protection.
Well, I wonder because, you know, my first understanding of plastic dip was, did you ever see it was in the can where you could like dip your tools in and stuff? I remember using that going, oh, wow, well, that's pretty handy. And then all of a sudden you start seeing these spray cans of it. And then, like you said, the dip your car guys, man, they went nuts with this stuff and really created a whole new industry. I'm not sure who owns plastic dip, but I'm pretty sure they're happy about it.
Yeah, it's there. Like I said, there's levels of plastic dip. There's the Jabroni sprayer grill plastic dip, and then there's legitimate. I mean, because you can do it gloss, you can do it flat. You can. Yeah,
they have that glossifier or something that makes it look like paint anymore, right?
Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff you can do now. It's a cool product. It's an amazing product. But just taking a can of black plastic dip and spraying your Nissan emblem is not a mod. Well, I agree with that.
Okay. So we can agree that I really haven't modded my Titan then.
Oh yeah, I'll agree to that all day. You're a big pussy when it comes to your Titan.
Hey man, it's a lot of money sitting there, you know. I didn't tell. Okay, let me give you this. Let's change the subject a little bit before we wrap the show up. So a few weeks ago, my son, who I love dear, has found he's had this girl that he's been talking to from Instagram for years, and they ended up over the summer. They ended up meeting. He flew up to New Jersey where she was from, and they hung out.
You talk about Corby?
The Corbs, man, yeah. So, and I told him, especially when he started working for me, I was like, you make pretty good money for your age. I was like, go explore, you know, while you can. Go see the world while you can a little bit. Right. So where does he want to go first? New York City. And I'm like, oh my God, as a parent, you know, you're just kind of freaking out, but you gotta, you know, let the little bird fly a little bit. So he does this thing and has fun, and him and this girl meet, and I don't know what I date. I don't know what kids do anymore. I don't know if you call that dating or what they do, but so she came down here a trip. And then he just recently went back up there, and he called me up. He was supposed to come home, and he's like, Dad, he's like, the guy that was going to pick me up from the airport bailed on me, and he's like, I'm literally walking on the airplane. Can you come pick me up? And what are you to say? No. get you an Uber. Danny, you know how far Nashville is from my house. That would be an expensive Uber ride.
Yeah.
So
yeah, right. You're like,
so this particular night, I had to get my daughter ready. We were taking her to softball, and my wife was going to meet me there, and I was dropping her off, and I'm probably already in kind of a pissy mood, knowing I've got to drive to Nashville. So I'm going up there. I do the cell phone waiting thing, and my son's like, yeah, I'm coming out. So I get in line. I'm waiting, and I'm waiting like 30 seconds, and here comes one of the little cops, and he's like, hey man, you got to move on. I was like, hey, my son was coming out, and he's like, well, too bad, here's a ticket. And I'm like, oh great, first ticket in the Titan. That's great. So my son finally stumbles out like all 19-year-olds do. He's in a daze. He doesn't know where he's at. And on the way home, Danny, I hear a and I look, and my window just starts splintering. So my new Titan had a nice big chip in the window, which this week we've had some cold weather, and Kelly took it to work with her and hit the defroster. And what happened as soon as she hit that defroster, it went clear across the truck.
Started splitting.
Yeah, up and down. So
Dang.
So now I get to replace a very expensive front windshield. So that's my Titan story of the week.
Well, the good thing is you can punch right in the gut. Good old fashioned gut punch. Always, what? All these people saying you can't beat your kids. Well, I think once they're over 18, you can give them a good old fashioned gut punch to make sure that they know who's boss still.
That's right, man. What's he gonna do? He's gonna have to file charges if he doesn't like it, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're gonna make him pay for it because he doesn't have any money he's spending on gaming consoles or something. But give him a gut punch. Remind him who's boss. Remind him that the real world isn't as nice as he might think. Teach him a lesson.
Yeah. Well, I feel
if
like
you don't go with a gut punch, maybe a little bit of headbutt to the nose. That's always a good method.
Somehow I feel like Dad got that because I told him, I was like, see what your buddy missing picking you up cost me.
Yeah.
And I know my insurance will cover some of it, but it's one of those fancy. It's got the sensors in the window, so when it rains, it turns on the wipers. And
those aren't like those cheap $200 windshields that you get on the very good Buster cars.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna when I turn this truck in, I'm just gonna put plexiglass up there and go, hey man, the window fogged up. I don't know what the deal is, and run off.
Hey, you know what, Dave? As of right now, I'm a total Nissan family again.
What? What happened? What's going on?
I turned the key in.
Oh, yeah.
Jamie's.
She's strictly Armada.
Kia. It's an okay car, but that was the most bland car I've ever had that I've ever technically owned. It was one of the most bland cars I've ever owned.
Yeah. It wasn't it a hybrid or something?
Just have the Armada. Yeah.
So you went from a hybrid, right, to the gas guzzling Armada.
Well, we had a hybrid Optima, which we traded in for a Sorento on account of the wife wanted some to cart kids around, which is their little SUV. That would be like a Rogue Sport, except it had the third row seat. So we had that, and then I got her the Armada, which is like a million times better than that car. The Armada's, don't get me wrong, the Armada is a monster, dude, and it's an earlier model, not early, but
it's
2011.
Yeah,
it's a monster. It's good. The VK V8. The car itself is a monster. It's a big car, but God, I love driving that thing. I don't mind. Before, with her little Sorento, I'd be like, no, I'll take my truck. Now I'm like, let me get in this thing. It's got gobs of power. That V8's a killer motor, dude. That thing just friggin' growls and I go.
Yeah, it's nice.
But it's comfy. It's so nice, dude. And so, but yeah, the lease was finally up on that stupid little Sorento, so I turned that in 2 nights ago. Now I'm back to I got the Xterra, I got the Frontier, I got the Armada, I got two Zs, which are going to be gone, but still, back to full Nissanville now again.
Yeah, you've got an alphabet going on there, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, so Dan, do you got anything else you want to discuss tonight?
That's it. I gotta pee pretty bad, so it's probably best we close this thing down.
Well, I can't help you there, buddy. Neither do I. Don't think the Nissan Nation can help you on that one either. So what you're saying is you want to do 2 more hours, right?
Yeah. You can do the next 5 minutes by yourself, though, if that's where we're going.
Well, so next time, Danny. I don't know when next time is. Probably right. I don't know what your plans are for Christmas.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Oh, well, Dan said next Thursday, so that means this will come out Friday. Okay. Yeah, we'll just start pumping them out during Christmas all week. We'll just
start pumping them out, man. We'll get you Christmas gift ideas coming up next podcast. I think that we got to do that, Dave. We got Christmas gift ideas.
We do.
I have some great ideas for gifts. They're going to include everything that I am going to sell. I'm going to sell some used undies, and an old caster from my garage. Just some great gift ideas.
I've got some Plasti Dip I pulled off a bumper, and we could do that.
Half-used can of Plasti Dip. It's going to be great.
Well, so from everybody here at the Nissan Nation podcast, JR, Kelly, the squirrels out in my backyard, whatever vegetables Danny's growing in his garden, I don't know. But from everybody here at the Nissan Nation podcast, Danny, I want to say thank you for listening, and we are out and out. Do it. Be gone. See you next time. Later.